Hello, all. This is my last lecture on Uncle Tom's Cabin. With this lecture, we shall also finish Slave Narratives in America, a survey. After that, I shall send you one or two lectures on the Scarlet Letter. The PDF of the summary of the novel is already sent to you on the WhatsApp group. So you are requested to read the summary of the Scarlet Letter about the novel, the characters in the novel, etc. And then you will understand or you will appreciate the lecture I shall send you on the WhatsApp group tomorrow. But first, let us finish Uncle Tom's Cabin. Now, till last lecture, we saw that now Uncle Tom is at the Legree plantation. He is with Simon Legree. Simon Legree is his third master in the novel, and he is cruel. His plantation is a mess. He is not a good landowner, and he hasn't kept his plantation neatly and cleanly. So neither the master nor the slaves on the plantation are happy. So chapters 35 to 44 we saw that Cassie looks after Tom on the Legree plantation. So what happens? Tom, being gentle and kind, tries to help the fellow slaves on the plantation, but Legree doesn't like it and he flogs Tom till he becomes unconscious. Thus, Tom is brought back to his shack where another slave called Cassie looks after him, and Simon Legree is afraid of Cassie. Simon Legree feels that this black woman, Cassie, has some magical powers in her, with her. Simon Legree feels that Cassie is a witch, and Cassie herself has created an aura around her. So she often tells the fellow slaves that she knows black African magic. And Simon Legree knows this and therefore he is afraid of Cassie. So he doesn't mind when Cassie looks after Tom. Then Tom doesn't surrender to Legree. He is a Christ like figure in the novel. He is a Christ like figure in the novel. That is, uh, Uncle Tom does not resist Legree's attack. So, time and again, Legree beats, insults Uncle Tom, but Tom patiently suffers and he knows that his end is near. He won't survive on Legree plantation. So, his health deteriorates and the atrocities on him increase. Then, meanwhile, we see George, Eliza, and Harry successfully escaped to Canada, and there is a reference to the Quakers. I once talked about the Quakers in the class when we had offline lectures. Quakers was, or even today it is, a religious sect. Quakers are the Christians who settled in America and they started a movement in America, and their basic aim was to help the poor, to help the needy, etc. So the Quakers is a religious sect who are staunch believers of Christianity. These Quakers played a key role in freeing the slaves in America. So the Quakers helped all the runaway slaves, and they saw that the runaway slaves would get enough food, shelter, clothing, etc. And they also helped these runaway slaves to settle at one place. So they provided them jobs, food, etc. So in the novel, Harriet Beecher Stowe also points out the good work done by the Quakers in America then. Now, at the end of the novel, when Tom is bedridden, he's counting his last moments, last days. George comes to take Uncle Tom to Shelby Plantation. Now George has grown up. George is Mr. Shelby's son, and he promised Uncle Tom, when Uncle Tom was sold by his father, he promised Uncle Tom that one day he will buy him back. So George comes to take Uncle Tom to Shelby Plantation, but Simon Legree refuses. He says that no, I shall not sell Uncle Tom, because Simon Legree wants to take a revenge on this old man. Simon, Uncle Tom has not surrendered himself to Simon Legree. So Simon Legree says that you should obey me, you should not read the Bible, you should not behave kindly, gently with your fellow slaves. But Uncle Tom won't listen to him. Uncle Tom wants to live a noble life, and Simon Legree is against it. So there is a kind of war between Simon Legree and Uncle Tom. So George, now this is George's greatness, that Uncle he comes to take back Uncle Tom, but Uncle Tom is not given by Simon Legree, and Uncle Tom dies because of सिमॉन लेग्रीज क्रुएल्टी. तर सिमॉन लेग्रीची क्रूरता काही थांबत नाही. अंकल टॉमना हर प्रकारे परेशान करून, हैराण करून, त्यांच्यावर शारीरिक अत्याचार करून अंकल टॉमना तो ठार मारतो. म्हणजे अंकल टॉमचा मृत्यू हा सिमॉन लेग्रीच्या क्रूरतेमुळेच होतो. सो ॲट द एंड ऑफ द नॉवेल वी सी द डेथ ऑफ अंकल टॉम, and George Shelby performs the last rites on Uncle Tom. Thus, Uncle Tom dies a tragic death. The novel is a tragedy because a noble a nobleman like Uncle Tom suffers for no reason. Our sympathies are with Uncle Tom. We we always feel that Uncle Tom should be reunited with his family. He should go back to his family and he should live a happy life. But this gentleman, this noble man, has to suffer in life and has to die because of Simon Legree. In the last chapter of the novel, we get Harriet Beecher Stowe's concluding remark on slavery. She says that it is just a faint picture of the anguish of the slaves. So, the novel is didactic in nature. Didactic, it is a form of didactic literature. That is, there is some kind of teaching, there is some kind of message given in the novel. The purpose of the novel is made clear by the author in the beginning of the novel itself. So, at the end of the novel, she says that the whole novel or the plot of the novel is just a faint picture of the anguish of the slaves. The novel faintly pictures the then condition of the slaves in America, how they are treated, how they live, how the white slave owners do injustice to them, etc. Then she calls upon all the men and women in America, even those in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Connecticut, to listen to her. So she makes an appeal at the end of the novel that the people in America should come together to fight against the injustice done on the minority in America. So her appeal is to the Americans in the north as well as in the south. So she appeals the southern landowners also to free the slaves and to stop the cruelty on that they have been doing on the slaves, on the African American people. Thus the novel ends and I time and again talked about why the novel is considered as a great work in American literature in the 19th century. I hope you have enjoyed studying Uncle Tom's Cabin. You have understood the plot, you have also understood the style of writing of Harriet Beecher Stowe, etc. So, whatever I wanted to talk about the novel, I have talked about it. And if you have any questions, problems, queries about it, you can call me, you can contact me. So, here I declare that the slave narratives topic, the first unit is over, and we will soon study the second novel, The Scarlet Letter, briefly. Thank you. I stop here.